Hello, birdwatchers. Welcome to Byron Bay. This place might be known for its trendy beach vibes and its Hollywood celebrities, but today I'm going to show you this town's true stars, the birds. Come with me as we explore Byron's top birdwatching hotspots, and we'll see plenty of birds along the way too. Let's get going. Here we go. We're starting on Marine Parade. We're going to make our way up to the iconic Cape Byron Lighthouse. I can hear a ton of birds already. Aussies should be familiar with this vibrant species. Rainbow lorikeets form massive feeding flocks early in the morning and late afternoon. And they're all over the place here. Look closely and you'll be able to see this one's white brush-covered tongue. They use this tongue to easily slurp up nectar from flowering trees. Nectar is the main portion of their diet. They also eat pollen and soft fruits. Their special tongue can become damaged when they're fed an unnatural diet of excessive seeds. Males and females look similar, and can generally only be told apart via DNA testing. Sometimes we can tell them apart by their behaviour. This one here looks like it's a male trying to impress a female. These birds are known for their striking black and white plumage, bright yellow eyes, and their beautiful calls. It's a pied currawong. Currawongs eat a wide variety of foods, from large insects, fruits, seeds, frogs, bats, and baby birds. Okay, that was a good start. And we haven't even entered the reserve yet. This conservation area has had 170 bird species reported, so keep your eyes peeled and your ears open. Speaking of which, did you hear that eek eek eek? Up next, we've got the most widespread kingfisher, the sacred. They can be found across most of Australia, but they tend to avoid the dry areas. Let's have a closer look. Their bills are long, straight, and dagger-like, with a slight curve at the tip. The shape of the bill doubles as a weapon, used for rapid and forceful strikes, making them ideal for catching prey on the ground and in the shallow water. We've got an eastern yellow robin perched over here. They can be found in a variety of habitats across eastern Australia, from shaded forests, woodlands, and coastal scrub. They are often seen darting down to snatch bugs off the top of the leaf litter. The track heading to the lighthouse is a tad steep, and has roughly about 200 steps. It forms part of a 4-kilometre circuit, which takes about 2 to 3 hours to complete. However, I'm only going to show you the good bits. I can see some birds moving around in the back of this thicket. Here's a pair of common bronzewing. Common bronzewing primarily feed on seeds and are frequently seen foraging on the ground. These are the adults. Here's a younger bird. Their plumage is more brown-orange than the adults. We haven't met this species before. It's the white-cheeked honeyeater. Their long curved bill allows them to extract nectar from flowers like banksia. Other nectar eaters like the earlier rainbow lorikeet can't access this nectar because their beaks are too short. Some like to refer to this species as the bearded honeyeater. This is to distinguish it from the similar looking New Holland honeyeater, which has the nickname mustached honeyeater. Hear that bird calling? It's the little wattlebird. Some say it sounds like a creaky metal bed frame. Okay, who's up here? It's a brush turkey. This one's taking a break. Brush turkeys will roost high up in the trees at night to avoid ground predators. They're often seen in large roosting groups of up to 50 birds. We've met the crested pigeon a few times now. Did you know that the sound that they make when they take off is not vocal? It's actually produced by special wing feathers. When other crested pigeons hear this sound, those birds are also more likely to take flight to avoid expected danger. These beachside tracks are worth exploring. Unlike the main track, they offer direct access to the shore. This makes it easier to view the beach birds up close. There's a large bird perched up on this pandanus tree. Meet the osprey. These impressive raptors are masters of fishing. After they've dived in and caught a fish, they need to carry it somewhere to eat. So as they head home, they'll maneuver that fish in their claws, turning it head first. This makes flying more aerodynamic. Okay, there's plenty more bird life to check out along this beach. It's the quirky beach stone curlew. It's known outside Australia as the beach thickney. Unlike their close cousins, the bush stone curlew, this species doesn't scream throughout the night. They communicate with a series of small squeaks. Beachstone curlews are considered near threatened globally, but here in New South Wales they are critically endangered. As of last year, there were only 13 known adults left in New South Wales, so these individuals have been tagged and are monitored closely. Unfortunately, they're in trouble due to habitat loss from coastal developments. Their eggs and chicks are also vulnerable to predators like foxes, dogs, and large birds. Further along the shore, we have two pied oyster catchers. They feed mostly on shellfish and other small invertebrates. Unlike many shorebirds that rely on probing and pecking to find food, oyster catchers evolved to exploit hard-shelled prey. Their long chisel-shaped bills are perfectly adapted for this purpose. They use them to cut the strong muscles that hold mollusks together. Cape Byron is the easternmost point of mainland Australia. It's renowned for its dramatic cliffs, lush hinterland, and panoramic ocean views. The cliffs here not only protect the coast from erosion, they also support unique plant and animal communities that have adapted to salt spray, wind, and steep terrain. Let's have a look in the rock pools below. It's the wave-challenging Eastern Reef Egret, also known internationally as the Pacific Reef Heron. These coastal hunters come in two colours. The grey morph, as seen here. The other morph has all white plumage, which makes them look similar to the rest of Australia's egrets. Reef egrets are masters of patience. They're often seen standing motionless, staring deeply into rock pools. Then they'll suddenly strike for their prey, which is mainly fish and crustaceans. It's always funny to see them running away from waves when they underestimate how big they're going to be. These next birds undertake extensive migratory journeys. Pacific golden plovers travel to Alaska and Siberia during the breeding season. However, it's much too cold for them to live there all year round. So they migrate to Australia and the Pacific Islands, and they do this incredible journey every year. When we see them here in Australia, they'll be in non-breeding plumage, which has a golden glow in the sun. The Pacific golden plover is often confused with the similar-looking American golden plover. Fortunately, we don't have to worry about this ID problem because we only get the Pacifics here. Okay, on to the next lookout. This one offers fantastic views of the local beaches, and it's a great vantage point for spotting turtles, dolphins, and migrating whales. Just offshore lies Julian Rocks, part of the Nothing Gully Nature Reserve, a renowned snorkeling and diving site teeming with over 500 marine species. I see there's a few more birds down on the rocks. Okay, there's a pied cormorant at the front, and a little black cormorant in the back. Let's have a closer look. The pied and the little pied cormorants are often confused. The pied develops yellow, blue, and pink facial marks during the breeding season. In the non-breeding season, you can tell the pieds by their grey bill colour. The little pieds always have yellow bills. Here's a great cormorant. They can be found across most of the world. Australia has 5 different species of cormorant, so if you get them confused, check out my cormorant identification video. Moving along, we have one of Australia's many terns. These are greater crested terns. They're often seen along coastlines, diving into water to catch fish. They have a black crest on the head and a yellow bill. Be sure not to confuse them with the similar looking, lesser crested tern. Let's continue the journey up to the lighthouse. Over the past few decades, Byron Bay has truly hit the spotlight. Growing up, I always knew it as a laid-back surf town with its alternative vibe and strong sense of community. These days, it's evolved into a sought-after destination for luxury tourism, celebrity retreats, and upscale developments. Fortunately for the wildlife, the council has introduced a biodiversity development control plan aimed at achieving no net loss of biodiversity. It's a promising step towards reducing habitat loss. This pied butcherbird looks to be in a perpetual state of shock. Birds can leave their mouths open like this for a variety of reasons, the main one being to cool down. Birds are unable to sweat, so they release excess body heat by panting, similar to what dogs do. We've got another bird of prey off in the distance. It's the whistling kite, named after the calls they make. They're widespread across Australia and are incredibly adaptable. This kite will hunt small mammals, birds, fish, reptiles, and insects. If they can't catch live prey, they'll even go for carrion. Carrion is the flesh of animals that the kite didn't kill themselves, like roadkill. Okay, we've reached the summit. Welcome to Cape Byron Lighthouse, built in 1901. This iconic beacon is the most powerful in Australia. It's able to cast its light up to 50 kilometres across the Pacific Ocean. That's a wrap for our Cape Byron walk. But don't go anywhere. Next up, we're heading to one of Byron Bay's most unexpected birdwatching gems. What we find there might surprise you. Welcome back. We've arrived at Byron Bay Wetlands. 5 minutes drive from town. There is a slight twist to this place. It's a wastewater and sewage management facility. Woohoo! I know it's not the most glamorous spot, but it's bursting with bird life. Over 200 species have been recorded here. And there's a willy wagtail here to greet us. Oh, okay then. Access is restricted to permit holders, and it's only open on certain days. Let's start exploring. We've got a pair of forest kingfishers hanging around the viewing platform. This species isn't as widespread as the closely related sacred kingfisher that we met earlier. Forest kingfishers are found mostly around Darwin and the mid to northeast coast of Australia. Over on the grass, we have a group of Australian wood ducks. We have a female at the front with a more mottled appearance. Males, like the one in the back, can be identified by their brown heads. The males also have a small mane along the back of the neck, hence their other common name, the maned duck. This next species is commonly confused as a cormorant. Australasian darters have spear-like bills to skewer fish to make them their lunch. Darters are large and slow to take flight, so if a predator approaches, the darter would rather stand its ground. They'll use their bills to threaten the intruder, and if they get too close, they'll even try to stab them with it. This site has an extensive network of tracks branching into different habitat types. I recommend you bring a pair of gaiters, leg protectors, as I've already seen a few snakes this morning. Let's jump into the main course. The muddy banks often contain a few treasures. Nice find. I like this place already. Spotless crakes usually hide deep within reed beds. You usually hear them and don't see them. These birds are remarkably small, roughly half the size of a dusky moorhen and about 10% smaller than a willy wagtail. The spotless crake can be found in many countries across the South Pacific, including New Zealand, New Guinea, and various islands from the Philippines to Polynesia. We went from one of the shyest birds to the bold, buff-banded rail. This species is regularly seen foraging out in open areas, including mangroves, wetlands, and even suburban gardens. Whoa, here's a Lathan snipe. Lathan snipe make an epic journey from Japan to Australia every year, usually leaving their breeding grounds around September. What's wild is they often take this migration with barely a break. Sometimes they can do the 7,000 kilometre flight non-stop, in 3 days straight. After spending about 5 months here in Australia, they then head back north, then do the migration all over again. The ponds here are used to clean wastewater through natural processes, so no swimming. Sedimentation and maturation ponds remove solids and nutrients, while the wetland ponds with plants and microbes improve the water further. The treated water is reused or safely released, helping protect the local waterways and support wildlife. Oh, gross. So much poo. It actually doesn't stink here. It smells more like detergent. Anyway, it's time to check out the bird hide. These birds are known for their long toes that allow them to walk on floating vegetation. Comb-crested jacana are found near water bodies and feed mainly on insects and small invertebrates. They have such an unexpected call. To me, this sounds more like a bird of prey than a water bird. I think we might have spooked these wandering whistling ducks. They have a distinctive soft whistling call, not like the whistling kite we heard earlier. We have 2 types of whistling ducks in this region. The wandering, which has a black stripe that runs along the back of the neck. There's also the plumed whistling duck, which have large upturned feathers on the side of their wings. Here's a royal spoonbill cleaning itself up. This one's in non-breeding plumage. Here comes another one strutting through in breeding plumage. In the breeding season, both males and females develop these white long crests and bright facial skin. Let me show you a closer look. Up close, you might be thinking that this looks a bit like a white ibis. Well, that's because the ibis and spoonbills are closely related and come from the same taxonomic family. You could easily spend half a day here. If you're interested in coming here yourself, contact the Byron Council for details. This curious bird is the restless flycatcher. This flycatcher earns its name by its constant tail flicks and hyperactive behaviour. Restless flycatchers have a variety of calls, including this one. This is called the scissor grinding call. They're insectivores, often seen hovering mid-air just before snatching prey. We've got 2 herons coming. Here's the first, the white-necked heron, previously known as the Pacific heron. Over to the left, we have the white-faced heron. Side by side, these 2 herons offer a great size comparison. The white-necked is much bigger and moves slowly, while the white-faced is sleeker and more agile. Both hunt in wetlands, but the white-faced is more common in urban parks. That concludes our time at Byron Bay Wetlands. Next up is my favourite bird spot in Byron for an afternoon bird walk. See you there. Good afternoon. We're here at Arakwal National Park. Access is off Broken Head Road. It's 10 minutes drive south from town. Let's see what birds are around. I hear some noisy miners giving off their aerial alert call. Let's try to find out what's going on. Here's the bird that they're complaining about. A brown goshawk. They're fierce predators capable of explosive bursts of speed through dense foliage to snatch medium-sized birds like noisy miners, lorikeets, finches and doves. If you see a brown goshawk, it's always good to get a photo because they can easily be confused with the similar-looking collared sparrowhawk. Next up is the iconic Australian magpie. Many Aussies are a bit jumpy around maggies around spring, as it tends to be their swooping season. No need to fear though. Despite what the news and media say, swoopings are actually rare. Only a small percentage of male birds swoop. The others just keep a watchful eye. I can hear and see a lot of rainbow bee-eaters flying about and resting on the ground. This field looks like a perfect nesting spot. Unlike most birds, rainbow bee-eaters nest underground. During spring and summer, both the mother and father will dig a deep tunnel in the sandy soil, which can reach up to a metre long. They dig using their bills and feet, flicking the sand behind them. At the end of the tunnel lies a cosy nesting chamber, where the eggs are laid. Once hatched, the parents and any helpers will feed the chicks for a few weeks before they make their way out of the burrow. This narrow stretch of reserve heads down to Tallow Creek, and then further to Tallow Beach. It's a short walk, less than 1 kilometre one way. The next set of species are often confused waterfowl. I'll show you the main things to look out for. Here's the Eurasian coot. Its plumage is black, it has red eyes, and a white facial shield and beak. The facial shield, the thing on its forehead, is made of keratin like our fingernails. Next we have the dusky moorhen. The top side is a dark dusky grey, whereas the neck and undersides are dark blue. In breeding, the facial shield is red and their bill has a bright yellow tip. Lastly, we have the Australasian swamp hen. This species name is currently in flux and it might go back to being called the purple swamp hen. Anyway, this species has rich blue on the head and body and a bulky red facial shield. Unlike the moorhen, swamp hens are not usually seen swimming. They prefer to be on the grass or in the reeds. That bird calling is the mistletoe bird. Here's a challenge. Which species of fairy wren is this? Note the orange eye ring. It's a superb fairy wren female. Now, what's this one? These are not easy to find. It's also a superb fairy wren, but it's the male in non-breeding plumage. Here's the superb male in breeding plumage. Okay, I'm not turning this into an exam. Look who we have here. This is so exciting. It's an echidna. After about 20 years of hiking, I've only ever seen echidnas a handful of times. The short-beak echidna is a monotreme, which means it's a mammal, but it lays eggs. They use their sticky tongues to forage for ants and termites. It looks like the bridge up ahead is closed. So that's going to be a wrap for our birdwatching adventure in Byron Bay. Before we meet our final birds for this video, if you enjoyed this journey, be sure to like and subscribe. Let me know in the comments whether you've spotted a favourite species, learnt something new, or have any questions. If you'd like to support more birdwatching adventures and get behind the scene extras, come and join our Patreon community. Okay, here's our final flock of birds. Here comes a very noisy flock of yellow-tailed black cockatoo. This strong wind is making it difficult for them to land. They love playing in noisy flocks and are often seen swooping together and tearing at bark just for fun. Yellow-taileds feed on seeds, fruits, and wood-boring grubs. The one right here is working on a banksia cone, prying out the seeds with slow, deliberate bites. Classic cockatoo behaviour. Okay, that's all for now. Happy bird watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!